Yeah, my people, Samayi with greeting. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. A coup has just taken place in Niger Republic. The Niger Republic, where you know, military then took over power. Military don't take over power for Niger Republic. General Muhammadu Buhari, former president of Nigeria, his brothers for Niger don't take over power. Just recently, the African Union concluded their meeting where Tinubu, as their chairman, making speech, talk say Africans no go allow any coup d'etat in Africa again. Say they no allow Western world to influence Africa, to the underdeveloped Africa. Say that Africa must arise. See, let me tell you one thing. The African leaders, till the day you guys began to match your words with actions, that will be the day Africa will begin to develop. Not just by giving a historical statement, making verbal statement that doesn't hold any water. Till the day you people began to match your words with action, that will be the only time Africa will develop. Africa, we are blessed with mineral resources. We are blessed with everything that a nation should have and make the better development with it. But we don't. People that are saying that they will not allow Western world to influence them anymore, to underdevelop them. They bank their stolen money abroad, their children's school abroad, they triple abroad for their hospital treatment, every of their tourism. They travel abroad to go and make their purchase. They buy everything they own from abroad. They don't even patronize the local manufacturing products, but they patronize that of the Western world. And you are saying that you won't allow the Western world to influence you the more. Shut up, Ashe. Till the day Africans began to bank their stolen money, build their factories, build their economics around Africans, that will be the only time we begin to talk of better development. All that we have, all that the nature bless us with, the Western worlds are the ones enjoying them. The Western worlds are the ones benefiting. The Western worlds are the ones making use of them. Our leaders go about selling us to the Western world. Today, the military have just taken over Niger Republic. You hear their statement, their reasons why they are doing all these things. Let me tell you, Mali, Niger, all these African countries where coup they take place day by day. Now the Western world they influence and then they fuel them. Even the crisis where they run for Kenya today, now the Western world and then where they fuel them. It go shock you say tomorrow the same military where do this coup, now then go still go back to the Western world pressure. Africans, we need to match our words with actions. Till the day we begin to match words with actions, at that time, Africa will begin to take their place. Imagine what in Kenya they do. Since ever this new president, can't they put all these policies? Now, then they succumb to the strategy where the Western world, the US, they use. Now, what see the way they use for Libya, and what they want to do for Kenya today. When I just listen to everything what just happened, I don't need to talk. Just hear from this, my brother voice.
2023, nous, forces de défense et de sécurité, réunis au sein du Conseil national pour la sauvegarde de la patrie, CNSP, avons décidé de mettre fin au régime que vous connaissez. Cela fait suite à la dégradation continue de la situation sécuritaire, la mauvaise gouvernance économique et sociale. Réaffirmons notre attachement au respect de tous les engagements souscrits par le Niger. Nous rassurons la communauté nationale et internationale par rapport au respect de l'intégrité physique et morale des autorités déchues conformément aux principes des droits humains.
Soldiers in West African country of Niger have announced a coup on national TV. They said they had dissolved the constitution, suspended all institutions, and closed the nation's border. Niger's President Mohamed Bazoum has been held by troops from the Presidential Guard since early on Wednesday. He was promised Washington's unwavering support in a call from U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken. UN Secretary Antonio Guterres also said he had spoken to the president and offered the UN's full support to the uranium-rich country. Mr. Bazoum is a key Western ally in the fight against Islamist militancy in West Africa. Two neighboring countries, Mali and Burkina Faso, have experienced coup triggered by jihadist uprising in recent years. In both countries, the new military leader had fallen out with France, the former colonial power, which also formerly ruled Niger, a vast arid country on the edge of Sahara Desert and one of the poorest nations in the world. Mr. Bazoum's whereabouts are unclear, but in a statement on Twitter on Thursday morning, he said the hard-won gains will be safeguarded and that Nigerians who love democracy will see to it. Former Minister Hassami Masoudu has declared himself the head of state and called on all Democrats to make this adventure fail. In the TV announcement on Wednesday, Colonel Major Amadou Adramain, alongside 9 other uniformed soldiers behind him, said, "We, the defense and security forces, have decided to put an end to the regime you know. This follows the continuing deterioration of the security situation and poor economic and social governance." He also said that all of the country's institution has been suspended and that the head of ministries will take care of day-to-day business. All external partners are asked not to interfere, he went on. Land and air borders are closed until the situation has been stabilized. He added a night curfew will take effect from 10 p.m. until 5 a.m. local time until further notice. Colonel Major Adramain also said the soldiers were acting from the National Council for the Safeguard of the Homeland. This coup is yet further bad news for French and Western efforts to restore stability to the parts of the West Africa known as the Sahel. When neighboring Mali chooses to partner up with Russia's Wagner Group in place of the French, Paris moves its center of operations in the region to Niger. This coup, even if it turns out to be short-lived, had shown that even Niger cannot necessarily be relied on to be a permanent safe base. Western influence in the region is shrinking like a water pool in the dry season. The governments in Burkina Faso, CAR, the Central African Republic, and Mali have all decided they would rather work with Russia's brutal Wagner mercenaries than any Western force. Wagner's primary interest in Africa has appeared to be more about enriching themselves and extending Kremlin's influence than following Western goals of trying to nurture better governance. For the two major insurgent groups in the region, those linked to so-called Islamic State and Al-Qaeda, this is good news. They thrive on instability, poor governance, and local resentment of the government. So a coup in Niger is likely to further hamper efforts to contain them. After the soldiers' TV announcement, Mr. Blinken called for the release of President Bazoum. He told a news conference in New Zealand that what it clearly constitutes is an effort to seize power by force and to disrupt the constitution. On behalf of ECOWAS, Benin Republic's Patrice Talon has arrived in the capital Niamey on a meditation mission. Mr. Talon said all means will be used if necessary to restore constitutional order in Niger, but the ideal would be for everything to be done in peace and harmony. Earlier on Wednesday, crowds in Niamey took to the streets in support of Mr. Bazoum. A BBC reporter also saw heavily armed forces to the president stationed around the national broadcaster. The city was mostly peaceful, although soldiers behind the coup fired shots to break up the protest. Niger is grappling with two Islamist insurgencies, one in the southwest which swept in from Mali in 2015, and the other in the southeast involving jihadists based in northeastern Nigeria. President Bazoum, who was democratically elected in 2021, is a close ally of France and other Western nations. Niger has experienced 4 coups since independence from France in 1960, as well as numerous attempted coups.